Richard, have you kept this one secret?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Kevin's obviously done most of the legwork in the background. I think it's fair to say it's rumbled on for a little while the clubs have come to a suitable arrangement, but nonetheless we're pleased, obviously very, very pleased and excited to get it over the line.
How significant a signing is this for you?
Yeah, big one. I think obviously Luke's form and impact over the game and Super League as a whole over the last 3 or 4 seasons, albeit he's had some difficulties with injuries over the last 2, has been enormous. I think he's had a strong desire to make this move happen as well, which I think for us makes it that little bit extra special. And for us on the field, what it means is we'll have a superb leader playing halfback for us. He'll give us a kicking game that probably has been something undoubtedly we've been missing over certainly at my time at the club, and a real strong desire to succeed at his hometown club.
Gale, do you feel like you've come full circle? You started here quite a while ago.
Yeah, pretty incredible story, to be honest. As I say, I think I was on the Rhinos books at 12 years old on the scholarship, and it's kind of come full circle. Very excited, and as Rich mentioned then, there's been a burning ambition to come back to the club, and I'm over the moon. It's finally happened.
Tough decision to leave Cass?
Look, I think it's always tough. I think Cass have been great to me, and my career's kind of gone skyward since I've been at the club. But as I mentioned, there's always been an ambition to come back to my hometown club, and when we kind of knew there was something that could be done, as Rich mentioned, I kind of wanted to pursue that, and Cass helped me with that as well. So look, I'm over the moon, and I can't wait to get started.
How's your fitness, Luke?
Yeah, I'm pretty much nearly there. I'll be training through the off season really to make sure I'm in grade A shape for day 1 pre-season. I'm sure the Leeds physios and the conditioners will be helping me. I think maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm pretty much nearly there, but we don't play well. I think there's 4 months left, so I don't need to be rushing yet. We've got plenty of time, and we'll just keep progressing.
Richard, did you only sort of make a move for Luke after you'd been appointed full-time yourself, or did this actually happen before then?
Oh, it's a good question, Martin, to be honest. I think probably fair to say at that time, around that time, that it all started to, I guess, ignite. But without going through the exact timeline, I guess there were a chance, then it wasn't going to happen, then there were a chance again. So it only sort of, I guess, picked up some momentum towards the back end of the season, by which time we were keen, very keen to try and make it happen. Obviously, Pete's mentioned the fitness aspects. We've done our diligence, and we're pretty confident that we've covered off every aspect. What we need to cover in terms of Luke's fitness. So once we'd done that, we were very keen to make it happen.
You'll have Luke presumably playing with Rob, in the halves next season, obviously. But you must be quite pleased with Callum McClellan, the way he's played for Featherstone recently, and he seems to have taken 1 or 2 steps forward to me.
Yeah, he's done great, and I think as we get further down the line with Luke, that's really important that we create the right pathways and succession plans for our players. We think that's the key to strengthening our club going forward. We feel we've got some of the best juniors and young players that the game's got to offer already on our books. So I think it's part of my job and responsibility as a coach, not just with Callum, but with the likes of Corey Johnson, Allroyd, Harry Newman, Cameron Smith, to make sure these blokes become regular first graders. And I think to have Luke and Rob Louis, we've still got Richie Myler in there too, who I thought absolutely tried his backside off towards the end of last year. We've got some real strength in depth in key positions, but I think for Callum, we understand where he's at on his journey. His performances have been super impressive with Featherstone, and he's a guy that we're confident he'll push these guys really hard next year for a spot, but also you know, we understand at 20-year-old for a half-back too, you know, he's still got some runs and to get on the board and some miles to cover yet. But you know, he's a player that we've got tremendously high hopes for. And I say to have 2 experienced half-backs, it'll be great for Callum. And that's something, Martin, that, you know, I'll probably be keen to stress. You know, I felt at times we lacked some core leadership last year in terms of experience and what came from certain positions. So I think for me, if we're talking about succession plans and making sure that we turn these, you know, highly talented young players into first grade, I don't think it'll do us any harm to have a couple of 31-year-olds that know the ropes in our team too. So, you know, if we're looking at recruitment, I think for us at this moment in time, Luke ticks more boxes than just being a scrum half and a kicking game for us.
As Richie's taken part to play at the club, or with Luke coming in, does it make it more likely he might move on?
Well, that position doesn't change, and I guess that's probably down to Richie a little bit. We've always been open and honest and frank about our position. And while the club were probably linked with numerous halfbacks, you know, we were very open with Rich and said, look, you know, we are looking at a deal for Luke, but we're not really looking outside and beyond that. And if Luke comes in, then, you know, Rich is probably going to be the one that's going to decide that. And you know, to have an abundance of Richards like that will strengthen us. But at the same time, you know, we also know that Rich is an experienced halfback that wants to play first grade, but he still can. He still can.
In terms of that 2017 season, best season of your career, Man of Steel, are you desperate to get back to those heights for your hometown club? That'd be the dream, I would imagine.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, as you mentioned, since 2017, it's been a bit up and down really. With more downs and ups. It's a couple of tough injuries, and look, I'm just keen to get back fully fit and I'm playing my best footy. I still think I've got my best footy ahead of me. I'm 31 years old, but I still feel 25. That's all I'm looking to do. Get back fit, and I know I can add a massive impact on the Leeds team, and as I mentioned, just wanting to get back to full fitness.
Can I just ask the length of your contract? What you've signed here?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Fine.
Would it have felt incomplete, Luke, your career without coming back here and having a good run in a Leeds shirt?
Yeah, definitely. I think that if you look back, and when you get to 40 years old, you look back, and that's kind of why I wanted to. I sat down with my partner and said, look, I want the deal to happen. And I didn't want to look back when I was 40 years old and think, look, I kind of didn't pursue this Leeds deal. So it was something that I really wanted. I still believe I've got plenty of footy left in me, and I can't wait to show Leeds what I can do.
It was a tough decision to leave Leeds in the first place, and you very bravely took a step backwards to go forwards. Did you ever envisage at that time that you might end up back here?
Yeah, I think definitely there'd still be a part of me that wanted to play Leeds. It wasn't actually a tough decision. I had Rob Burrow and Danny Maguire in front of me, so as it turned out, they probably went to be on the best 6 and 7 combination in Super League history. So I think my mind was made up on that one. So I went to Doncaster, kind of as we mentioned, a bit like Callum McCullen's doing now, playing in a first team environment. Probably not at that Super League level yet, but you learn an awful lot in them games and running a team and kind of becoming a man. So it's as I mentioned, I've had a fair few clubs. Went down to London, back to Bradford, Castleford to Leeds. So it's kind of come full circle. But I'm privileged and I'm happy I'm back here.
It's been a tough few years for Leeds. Do you see that they're starting to put things in place to get back to where they were a few years ago? Yeah,
definitely. And I think one thing that Rich mentioned then, all them young players that rolled off the tongue there, they've got an abundance of talent in that young area. And I think them dovetailed with some experienced players can have a massive impact on Super League this year. You saw towards the back end when the shackles were off and the safety, the kind of played better footy, and you kind of could see what they're capable of. So I think definitely, as we mentioned, them young lads, and mixed in with a bit of experience, I think yeah, we can go far.
What about your international career, Luke? Is that, with Great Britain coming back, is that something that you look to get back into next season?
Yeah, massively. It was a tough one. I think that's throughout the whole injury process. The knee clash with Paulie were kind of an inconspicuous clash, and that had follow-on effects to not being fully fit. Then the Achilles. I think the hardest thing to come to terms with is the missing of Great Britain. That'd be one thing that I'd love to do. And there was a meeting probably 2 months ago, and on these meetings we try on all the GB kit and stuff like that. And that were the hardest thing to take was trying the GB stuff and knowing you kind of not going to be a part of it this year, and that was real tough to take. So. Yeah, massively want to get back in England setup, and hopefully one day get back to full fitness and show Wayne I'm back to form, and who knows.
So there was never any prospect of playing this season, was there, for Cass?
Of this season?
Yeah.
No, kind of. We what's come before with the other injury as well. I think the physio Matthew Craver did a great job, and he kind of always knew it was going to be a 9-month. Injury. I had aspirations of getting back in 6, but kind of unrealistic if I'm honest. He always said it was 9 months. 9 months took us right to the end of the season, so I'm kind of glad that's happened as well, because it'd have been kind of pointless to come back for 1 or 2 games. It wouldn't have been worth it, and it was the right call in my eyes to take that longer approach, and I think it was sensible.
Richard, I know we're here for Luke today, but can you update us on Trent Merriam's situation?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll probably start from the start, Ian, and really emphasise the strong relationship that we've got with Trent. I think everybody's aware that maybe a third of the way through the season, might have been a little bit after that, Trent had to go back to Australia for a family, a very personal family issue or tragedy, if you like, which has created him at times a need probably to be a little bit closer to home. I think obviously since I came in as coach and he became captain, we built up a terrific relationship. His performances on the field, I thought were outstanding for us in a really tough situation. But some of those issues and family issues that he's got at the moment, we've sort of given him opportunity to have a look to see if he can, see if he can source any deal out what perhaps suits him to be a little bit closer to home. For some of those private reasons, it's really not for me to put those reasons out in public. You understand they're of a very personal nature, but we've got constant dialogue with him about where it's all at. We have put a little bit of a time scale on it that if you do source a deal, we need to be across it. But these are a line in the sand where we both agree that once he's had a look, if it's not right, then he'll come back. And there's a strong part of him that really wants to come back too. But sometimes, I found this myself having worked over there. Sometimes there's some overriding family situations that, unfortunately, are far more important than rugby league. So we've been very sympathetic to that, and we're also very confident that if his situation evolves, that he does come back. He'll come back and be a strong player and a leader for us. And if not, and the situation unravels that he does get something that means he can stay at home, then he'll do it with our full support. At no point are we sort of, there's no, sinister underneath workings. We've got very open and honest lines of communication on this, and I guess we understand. We totally understand.
Can you tell us what that deadline is, Richard?
No.
Presume you've got contingency plans in place, you've got potential targets lined up if Trent leaves?
Yeah, I went out there for a week. Not on that premise, for a number of reasons. Caught up with some coaches, football and recruitment managers, caught up with some agents, and we got in front of a couple of players in case in case the situation unravels how it is. I know you're going to ask me who the players are, but no, I'm not going to tell you who they are either. But you know, I'm doing that out of respect because we dealt direct with clubs, and some of the players we spoke to are in contract and not out there on the open market. So you know, you'll understand there's a sensitive nature both to the player and the club's concerned in all that. And if you know, if Trent, if it works out that Trent, you know, tells us that, look, I'm good to go and I'm good to come back, then you know, all those situations sort of get put to bed.
Luke, can I just come back to you? Just ask you about your time at Castleford as a player. You've had several years there. I just wonder to what degree you think your game has developed at Castleford, particularly when you bear in mind that you've got two former half-backs on the coaching staff in Ryan Sheridan and Danny Orr, which I don't know how that worked, but I would have thought it would have been quite helpful to you in your game having two half-backs on the coaching staff.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, it's come from Bradford, having never played for England. I played with the England Knights, but I went to Castleford and I've got 9 appearances for England now, and a League Leaders medal and a Man of Steel medal as well. So obviously Castleford had a massive impact on my career, and the coaching staff have all been great. I think the Pauli has been great, and as you mentioned, Danny Orr and Ryan Sheridan as well, they've all been fantastic. So yeah, I would have said it's had a pretty positive impact on my career, and it's been great, and I enjoyed my time there as well. It's a great club, and yeah, I couldn't have a bad word to say about them. We've done the deal, we've moved to Leeds, and look, there's no hard feelings on my part anyway, and I hope on their part too.
Just when you first left Leeds, what do you remember about when you realised you had to make a career elsewhere, and how did it come about in terms of leaving?
I think it come about my now agent Craig Harrison, who has been instrumental in this deal. He actually bought Doncaster through some sort of mad, I don't know how he did it to be honest, but he ended up buying Doncaster, and I think he watched a couple of academy games, and he took me and Kyle Briggs, the 6 and 7, who was at Leeds then, and it were kind of, I think Craig helped get me there, and kind of sat down and knowing what were in front of me, the great players at Leeds, kind of knowing that we had to take a step backwards. So I would say Craig were pretty instrumental on that deal too.
Richard, you've got a player who's incredibly talented, but is part of the excitement that he's highly motivated as well?
Yeah, that played a big factor in you know, working really hard to get it over the line. Well, the guy's desire to play for Leeds, to get his England jumper back, and I think we've talked about it a little bit already. Some of the challenges that Luke's faced, being behind Rob and Danny, but he's done it the hard way, and he's had to show a lot of desire, perseverance, love for the game. From going to Doncaster to Harlequins and Bradford, that at the time clubs that were down the bottom reaches of the game. He's hung in there and chipped away till he found a really good marriage in Castleford and a coaching staff that they were able to get the best out of each other. And I think that's the challenge for myself and our coaching team now, is we've got to get that same synergy, understanding, and ability to get the best out of each other to make this work. I'm confident we can. I were around England Academy at the time Luke were playing, and I hope he don't mind me saying this, but he missed the cut for that. It's really, I look through his career, and whenever he's had a challenge, and his challenge now is getting himself back to full fitness and establishing himself with the same dominance in our team that he's had on the Castleford team. But that's a challenge for me and my staff to play our part in making that work and making that happen. But going back to that desire, it makes it a lot easier when the player is so highly motivated and got that will, that strong will to play for his hometown club.
Thanks for reminding me on that, Rich, actually.
I was an assistant coach, I'm not head coach.
Well, it's not your say then.
No, not my say.
Any further questions?
Oh, just a final one from me. The next World Cup is in this country in 2 years' time. Presumably your hand is right up for that, for the half-back slot the England team?
Look, it's a fair way off that. My only thing I've got on my mind now is the 2020 season for Leeds Rhinos. But yeah, back to full fitness, back playing well, back playing in a great Leeds team. 2021, I'll be 33 then. I think I've got plenty of years left in me. So look, hopefully my form's good, my team's playing well, and look, that number 7's still up for grabs. And yeah, I'd love to pull back that GB shirt.
Or England?
Or England, yeah any.
Yeah.